and welcome to Gillette Outdoors. My name's William Gillette, and we're talking photography basics. Today, it's controlling light, and I'm going to show you what gives your camera that signature sound. Light. It's a photographer's best friend and his worst enemy. But learning to control light is the key to taking a great photograph in any condition. Now in this series, we're going to talk about all the different ways of controlling light, whether it be physically, like with an ND or color filter, through camera settings, like ISO, or aperture, or shutter speed, like we're talking about today. Before we can learn to control light, we must first understand it. Let me see if I can break it down for you. Light, traveling from its source, in this case the sun, always travels in straight lines. Now when those straight lines of light fall upon an object, they're bounced off the object or reflected. When that reflected light goes into your eye, it tells you that this carabiner is green, but it tells you more than that. It tells you that this carabiner is shiny or that it has a smooth texture. That's very, very important, because your camera's sensor works much the same way as your eye. Now inside of your camera is what's known as the shutter, and basically it's a small cover that covers up the sensor and keeps light from getting in. When you push the shutter release button on your camera, that shutter opens up, exposing that sensor to the reflected light from your object. Now once that shutter closes again, it protects that sensor from any more light getting to it, and your picture is made. The amount of time between the shutter opening and closing is what's known as the shutter speed. What would happen if you walked outside in a rainstorm with this waterproof box and you opened it? Well, obviously water is going to get inside of the box. Once you close it, no more water gets in. Now, the only thing that determines how much water gets in is how long you leave the lid open. So let's say if you were to open it quickly and shut it, just a little bit of water would get in. But if you were to open it and leave it open for a long period of time, much more water would get inside the box. Your camera sensor works much the same way. So what do we do with this information? Well, in low light situations, your camera is going to need a little bit more light to make a picture. And on the other hand, in very bright, very sunny situations, your camera is going to need a little less light to make the picture. Controlling the time in which the shutter is open will determine how bright or how dark the picture is going to be. Adjusting a camera's shutter speed does have a side effect, and that's called motion blur. Basically, what it means is, if you have a very high shutter speed, when you take a picture of a moving object, that moving object is going to appear frozen in time, so it'll have crisp and clean lines. But if you have a very low shutter speed, anything in frame that's moving will become blurred. Now this side effect can be either wanted or unwanted. Let me show you some examples and ways you can use motion blur to your advantage. Shutter speed is just one thing that you can use to control light. And I hope this series helps you better understand and better use light to help your images tell a story. My name is William Gillette for GilletteOutdoors.com.